Hi everyone. Today we shall see about the fundamental concepts of chemical kinetics. Basically, we have learnt the word kinetics in physics. The word kinetics is very much related to motion, movement, oscillation, velocity, etc. But how come this word kinetics in chemistry? We can understand that kinetics is about the velocity or rate of a chemical reaction. Do you know that preparation of ammonia is really a slow process? In a similar way, preparation of sulfuric acid, nitric acid and many more chemicals of economic importance are slow only, but chemists had figured out how to make them fast. Once we understand a reaction, we can figure out ways to speed it up or slow it down. Kinetic studies are important in understanding reactions. They also have practical implications. For example, in industry, reactions are conducted in reactors in which compounds are mixed together, heated, sometimes stirred for a while, and then moved to the next phase of the process. Here, it is important to know how long to hold the reaction at one stage before moving on. Not only are kinetic studies important in industry, but they are also used to understand biological processes, especially enzyme catalyzed reactions. You know, the rates of the reactions involved in food degradation are important in determining the shelf life of food items. So, controlling a reaction may help in a wide variety of fields including medicine, industry, geology, food, analytical reagents and agriculture. So we can understand that chemical kinetics is as important as any other branch of physical chemistry. So now the definition of chemical kinetics. It is a branch of physical chemistry which deals with the study of the rate of chemical reactions and the mechanism by which they occur. In this model, you will know about what is rate of a chemical reaction, factors affecting rate of a reaction, order and molecularity. First, we shall see the different types of chemical reactions. This is on the basis of their speed. Number 1, fast reactions. These reactions proceed at a very fast speed and it is practically impossible to measure the speed of such reactions. Typical examples of fast reactions are neutralization of acids and bases and organic substitution reactions. Number 2, slow reactions. There are extremely slow reactions also. These reactions proceed at a very slow speed and for the completion of the reaction it may take days. Number 3, reactions which proceed at a measurable speed. For example, inversion of cane sugar, saponification of ethyl acetate. But how to find whether a reaction is slow or fast? Here comes the rate of a reaction. We all know that to find the speed of a moving car, we measure how far, that is, the distance it travels per unit time. Do you think in the same way can we determine the rate of a chemical reaction? First, we shall see what is meant by the rate of a reaction. The rate of reaction is the rate at which the reactants are converted into products. One thing we have to bear in our mind is rate of the reaction is different at different time intervals. That is, at one particular moment the reaction may be fast and at another moment it may be slow. So, it cannot be, that is, the rate of the reaction cannot be determined by dividing the quantity of the substance transformed by time. So, the rate of the reaction is therefore defined as the rate at which the concentration of the reactant changes with time. The figure shown is the plot of concentration of the reactant and the product against time. Let us first see about the curve which represents the rate of decay of the reactant A. The curve is steepest at the start, that is when t equal to 0, the curve is steep and becomes progressively less steep as the reaction proceeds. At the end, we can notice that the plot becomes horizontal because the concentration of the reactants is no longer changing. And now the steepest of the curve tells you how fast the reaction is taking place. So the rate of the reaction at a particular instant can be found by drawing a tangent to the curve at that time and measuring the gradient of the tangent. So the rate of the reaction at the time t is, that is t equal to 0, is called the initial rate of the reaction or instantaneous reaction rate. So we can express the gradient. So we have got some gradient now by that is, we can express the gradient at a particular time as a differential. That is, with the help of the calculus we can express the rate of the reaction. So for this particular reaction A converted to B, rate can be expressed as the differential of, that is, minus d by dt of concentration of the reactant. The value of the gradient is negative. This is because the reactant is being used up. So the reaction, that is the rate of the reaction, is equal to minus d by dt of concentration of the reactant. Now take a look at the plot of the concentration of the product against time in this figure. At any time t, the rate of formation of the product in this reaction is same as the rate of consumption of the reactant. So, the rate of the reaction can also be expressed in terms of concentration of the product. Say, for this reaction A converted into B, the rate of the reaction can be expressed as d by dt of concentration of the product. Notice here the gradient has a positive value. Previously we studied that the gradient value is negative. There the reactants are consumed or the concentration of the reactants decreases with the due course of the reaction. But here it is positive, that is gradient is positive. This is because with time the concentration of the product will increase. So now the speed of a reaction or the rate of the reaction can be defined as change in concentration of the reactant or product in unit time. To be more specific, it can be expressed either in terms of the rate of decrease in concentration of any one of the reactants or rate of increase in concentration of any one of the products. For example, we shall consider this particular reaction, that is dinitrogen pentoxide converted into nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. The rate of the reaction, this reaction can be expressed in terms of reactant or product. So, for example, in terms of dinitrogen pentoxide, the rate can be expressed as the amount of dinitrogen pentoxide dissociated divided by time interval, or it can also be expressed in terms of any one of the products formed. That is, rate can be defined as the amount of nitrogen dioxide produced divided by time interval, or it can also be defined as the amount of oxygen produced upon time interval. Now consider the reaction. A moles of A react with B moles of B to form C moles of C and D moles of D. The rate of such a reaction can be expressed either in terms of decrease in concentration of a reactant per mole or increase in concentration of a reactant per mole. Thus, the rate can be expressed either in terms of concentration of the reactants, that is minus 1 by A into d by dt of concentration of A, or minus 1 by B into d by dt of concentration of B. The rate can also be expressed in terms of concentration of the products formed. So, it can be expressed as 1 by C into d by dt of concentration of C, or 1 by D into d by dt of concentration of D. Here, the previous example, we have took the same previous example. Here, dinitrogen pentoxide, it dissociates to give nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. So, for this particular reaction, the rate, how we can express the rate, it is represented here. Either in terms of the reactant, dinitrogen pentoxide, or it can also be expressed in terms of any one of the products. That is, either with the help of nitrogen dioxide or oxygen molecule. So, we have got the rate expression as minus d by dt of concentration of dinitrogen pentoxide, or the rate can also be defined as half multiplied by d by dt of concentration of nitrogen dioxide, or it can also be expressed as 2 into d by dt of concentration of oxygen. Now, we shall see about the unit for the rate. We know that concentration is usually expressed in moles per liter, and time is expressed in seconds or sometimes minutes. So, the unit for the rate, that is, we know the rate is literally we can say that concentration divided by time. So, unit of concentration is mole per liter. Then when it is divided by time, either a second or minute it will come. So on the whole, the unit for the rate is mole per liter per second or mole per liter per minute. But for gaseous reactions, the unit, that is the concentration, is expressed in terms of atmosphere. So the rate unit for the rate becomes atmosphere per second. And now, factors affecting rate of a reaction. A number of factors affect the rate of the reaction. The most significant of them is listed here. That is, effect of concentration of reactants, effect of nature of reactants, effect of catalyst, effect of surface area of reactants, and effect of temperature. Now we shall see them one by one. Effect of concentration of reactants. The rate of a chemical reaction is influenced by the number of collisions per second between the reacting molecules. On increasing the concentration of the reactants, the number of collision increases, and hence the rate of the reaction also increases. When there is any decrease in the number of collisions, there will be decrease in the rate of the reaction. The next effect is nature of reactants. Reactions between polar or ionic molecules occur almost instantaneously. Those reactions in which bonds are arranged or electrons are transferred take comparatively longer time than these reactions, that is, reactions involving polar and ionic molecules. For example, reactions involving neutralization or double displacement are very fast, but our oxidation reduction reactions, which involves the electron transfer, are slower. Effect of catalyst. A catalyst can increase or decrease the rate of the chemical reaction. For example, the combination of hydrogen and oxygen to form water is slow only at ordinary temperatures, but it proceeds rapidly in the presence of platinum. So, this is an example for positive catalysis. Similarly, oxidation of sodium sulfite to sodium sulfate by atmospheric oxygen, it becomes slow in the presence of ethanol. So it is an example for negative catalysis. So we can understand that presence of catalysts influence the rate of the reaction. Now the effect of surface area of reactants. Surface area of reactants is of importance only for heterogeneous reactions. When the particle size decreases, surface area for the same mass will increase. So the smaller particles we know that smaller particles will react more rapidly than the larger particles. For example, when we go for this burning of coal dust in air, this takes place more rapidly than that of the large lumps of coal. Comes the effect of temperature. With the exception of a few reactions, the rate of reaction is increased considerably with an increase in temperature. Generally, the rate of the reaction is almost doubled or even tripled by an increase of 10 degrees Celsius in temperature. So, we already know that there is effect of concentration on the reaction rate. This relation, that is, the concentration of the reactant and the rate, these two terms can be expressed as a mathematical equation. That expression we can call as rate law. That is, the representation of rate of reaction in terms of concentration of the reactants is known as rate law. So we can express rate as rate is proportional to concentration of the reactants. If at all one reactant, it is proportional to the concentration of that reactant, or if the chemical equation involves more than one reactants, we can express in the same way. That is, for example, if two reactants means rate is proportional to the concentration of one reactant multiplied by the concentration of another reactant. So in general, let us consider a reaction. A moles of A combines with B moles of B to give C moles of C and D moles of D. Here for this reaction, rate is expressed as, mathematically it is expressed as rate proportional to concentration of A multiplied by concentration of B. Here we have to notice that both the terms have some values raised to their powers, and this reaction, that is the dependence, that is proportional, that factor can be altered by introducing a constant. Here that constant K we used to call as rate constant. That is, rate is equal to K into concentration of the reactants. So the product of the concentration of the reactants we can say. So rate equal to K, proportionality constant, into concentration of A power X multiplied by concentration of B power X for this particular reaction. This equation can be equated to our
differential equation. Earlier we have learned that rate can be expressed in terms of either reactant or concentration of the products, that is d by dt of concentration of the reactants. So here we have got one another mathematical expression. So these two expressions can be equated, that is d by dt of concentration of the reactants, that is equal to K into concentration of A power X into concentration of B power Y. So let us take our previous example, dinitrogen pentoxide giving nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. For this reaction, a plot is represented here, that is concentration versus time. Concentration of the reactants and products versus time. What is the variation in concentration with time is represented here. So let us see first the decay of nitrogen, that is dinitrogen pentoxide. So with the time, in blue color it is represented. So it can be seen that with time there is a decrease, gradual decrease in the concentration of dinitrogen pentoxide. And at the end there we can also notice that some horizontal portions there, it represents that almost there is no change in the concentration of dinitrogen pentoxide at that time. Now come to the formation of the products. Here we have got two products, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. So when you come to this nitrogen dioxide, formation of nitrogen dioxide, we can see with time the formation, it increases gradually. There can an increase in the formation of nitrogen dioxide is noticed, that is increase in the concentration of nitrogen dioxide can be seen in a red color curve. Now you come to the curve shown in green color, that is formation of oxygen. Here also a gradual increase in the concentration of oxygen can be noticed. But when you compare the formation of nitrogen dioxide and oxygen, we can notice that there is variation in the formation, that is the rate of formation of one product is different from the rate of formation of formation of another product. So we have to bear in mind that the rate of decay of one or more reactants, it may have the chemical equation may have more than one reactant, or there may be more than one products, but the decay or formation may not be, that is the rate of decay or rate of formation may not be the same always. As of now we have compared the concentration formation of nitrogen dioxide and the formation of oxygen. We can clearly see that the rate of formation of these two products are not the same.
Here let us see another example. Here nitric oxide and oxygen combines to give nitrogen dioxide. Here one table is given where the data is about the initial concentration of the reactants, that is nitric oxide and oxygen, and also the initial rate of formation of nitrogen dioxide is given. So let us come to the data. In the data 1, we have got the concentration of the reactants, that is the nitric oxide and oxygen concentration, both are found to be the same, that is 0.30 mole per liter. So for that, initial rate of formation obtained is 0.096 mole per liter per second. This is one experimental data. And now here in the data given in data 2, we can see that the initial concentration of nitric oxide is doubled and the initial concentration of oxygen is maintained in the same value, that is 0.30 mole per liter. Now come to the rate of formation. Here we can see that almost the initial rate increased by 4 times. So when you increase the concentration of nitric oxide in this particular reaction, the rate of formation of nitrogen dioxide increases by 4-fold. Yes, now come to the data 3, that is here concentration of nitric oxide is kept constant and the concentration of oxygen molecule is doubled. Here the rate it is found to be 0.192 mole per liter per second. That is the rate is found to be doubled compared to the original, that is data 1. So here we can compare one thing, that is when we double the concentration of nitric oxide, the formation rate of formation is greater by 4 times. When we double the concentration of oxygen, the rate of formation is greater by 2 times. Okay, so now let us double both the reactants, that is the concentration of the reactants is doubled. So what happens there is, when we notice the rate of formation, there it is found to be 0.768, which is almost 8 times that of the original rate of formation. So when we double both the concentration of the reactants, we have got 8-fold times increase in the rate of formation of the product. So here we can say that the reactant nitric oxide as well as oxygen is sensitive. That is, when we change that concentration, the rate of formation is changed. So how sensitive? With that knowledge, we give that is the value in the exponent. So for example, in the rate expression, we have got rate is equal to K into concentration of nitric oxide raised to the power 2 and multiplied by concentration of oxygen raised to the power 1. This exponent value, it is obtained by the sensitiveness of that particular reactant in the formation of the product. So the rate equation derived from the experimental data and the exponents of the concentrations are same. Here in this particular reaction, it is same as their stoichiometric coefficients in the balanced chemical equation. This stoichiometric coefficient is nothing but the number of moles of the reactants and products present in the balanced chemical reaction. In this particular reaction, the exponents given in the rate expression and the stoichiometric coefficients are found to be the same. Yes. Now we have to understand that sometimes even when we change the concentration of one or more of the reactants, the rate of formation may or may not change. Sometimes it may not also change. So we in the rate expression, only when the concentration, if it is have any effect over the rate of formation, then only it is expressed as exponent. That is, the exponent of the concentration terms are not the same as their stoichiometric coefficients always. In time, accidentally it may be by experimental procedure only we can find this, whether the stoichiometric coefficients and the exponents in the rate expression may be sometimes similar, sometimes it may not be similar. It depends upon the sensitiveness of the reactants in the rate of formation of the products. So, the rate law for any reaction cannot be predicted just by looking the balanced chemical equation. That is, we cannot write the rate law, rate expression from the stoichiometric coefficients, but we have to go and find it experimentally. Then only we can express the correct rate expression, and also it is only possible by doing experiments. With the help of the experiments only we can find the rate. In chemical kinetics, the reactions are generally classified in terms of their order. Order of a reaction is defined as the number of atoms or molecules whose concentration changes during the chemical reaction, or it can also be defined as the number of atoms or molecules whose concentration terms is there in our rate law expression. Just now we have seen that the rate expression will have some exponent values. These exponent values can be found only with the help of the experiments. See, the sum of these exponents that occur in the rate expression, that is, for example, here the rate expression, rate equal to K into concentration of A to the power X multiplied by concentration of B to the power Y. Here the sum of the exponents, here the sum of the exponents means X and Y. So this X plus Y, sum of these components will give the overall order of the reaction. Here what does this X and Y specify? This X specify the rate is sensitive to the change in concentration of the reactant A, and Y specifies that how the rate is sensitive to the change in concentration of B. So the sum of these two exponents will give the overall order of the reaction. So, to define order of the reaction, the sum of powers of the concentration of the reactants in the rate law expression is called the order of the reaction. Order can be 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 and even a fraction. A zero order reaction means that the rate of the reaction is independent of concentration of the reactants. Let us consider the two examples. In the first example, our reactant is dinitrogen pentoxide. We can see that rate expression is dependent upon the concentration of dinitrogen pentoxide and the order is said to be 1, or otherwise it can be called as first order reaction. In the example 2, we have got nitrogen dioxide. Rate is proportional to the concentration of nitrogen dioxide raised to the power 2. That is, order of this reaction is 2, or otherwise we can call it as example for second order reaction. And here you have to notice that though in both the reactions the number of molecules involved, that is the stoichiometric coefficient involved in the reactant is only 2, but the order remains 1 for the first example and 2 for the second example. So again we have to remember that the reactant which is sensitive during the chemical reaction, that is, if any change in the concentration of the reactant will be taken into account while we frame the rate expression and thus to find the order. Order of the reaction may not be always a whole number. Let us take one example. Acetaldehyde dissociates to give methane and carbon monoxide. Here the rate is proportional to the concentration of acetaldehyde raised to the power 1.5. So the order of the reaction is equal to 1.5. So we have to bear in mind that it may be also, that is, order of the reaction may also be a fraction. So order of the reaction may not be always a whole number. One more important fact regarding this order of reaction is pseudo-order reactions. Some reactions have orders which is different from the expected one. Yes, those reactions we call as pseudo-order reactions. Reactions whose order is different from the expected using the rate law expressions are called pseudo-order reactions. Let us see about pseudo first order reaction. Here a second order reaction follows the first order kinetics. Here one example is given where ethyl acetate when treated with water in the presence of acid, that is, it is acid hydrolyzed to give acetic acid and ethanol. Actually, this reaction follows first order kinetics, but we can see the reaction involves two reactants. So the rate expression must contain two concentration terms, but it is not found to be like that, right? So a second order reaction, here it follows first order kinetics. Such a reaction we can call as pseudo first order reaction. This is because the concentration of ester during the reaction, the concentration of the ester decreases with time, but the concentration of water, it is not at all altering measurably. We can say it is not at all decreasing or altering measurably during the reaction. So the concentration of water is there in large excess when compared to ester. Because of this reason, in the rate expression, only the concentration term of the ester is only used. Okay, so the rate expression of this particular reaction can be given as a rate equal to K into concentration of ethyl acetate. We have previously seen that chemical reactions can be classified into slow, fast, and reactions which occur in a measurable speed on the basis of the speed of the reaction, right? But here, in the point of view of chemical kinetics, reactions can be classified into elementary reaction and complex reaction. So, a chemical reaction that takes place in one and only one step, that is, all that occurs in a single step, is called elementary reaction. And the chemical reaction occurring in the sequence of two or more steps. Okay, those reactions are called complex reactions. With the introduction of single, that is elementary and complex reaction, we shall move on to the next topic, molecularity of the reaction. Molecularity of an elementary reaction, it can be defined as the minimum number of molecules or atoms or ions of the reactants required for the reaction to occur. That is, it is equal to the sum of the stoichiometric coefficients of the reactants in the chemical equation. Okay, so molecularity of simple reactions is equal to the sum of the number of molecules of reactants involved in the balanced chemical equation. Like that we can say. So we can understand that the minimum number of reacting particles that come together in a rate determining step to form product is called molecularity of a reaction. So here some examples are given. In the first example, phosphorus pentachloride. So only one reactant and the stoichiometric coefficient is found to be 1. So that reaction we can call it as example for unimolecular reaction. It is unimolecular reaction. In the next second example, 2 moles of hydrogen iodide is involved as reactant. So it is bimolecular. Likewise, in the third reaction we can see that sulfur dioxide, 2 moles of sulfur dioxide and 1 mole of oxygen is involved. So being the sum of the stoichiometric coefficients of the reactants is our definition for molecularity. So here for this particular example, 2 plus 1, that is 3. Molecularity is equal to 3. So this is a trimolecular reaction. So like that we can classify the reactions on the basis of number of moles involved in the reaction or the sum of stoichiometric coefficients of reactants in the elementary reaction as that is unimolecular or bimolecular or trimolecular, like that. And we have to remember that molecularity is just a theoretical concept. So for any chemical reaction, the molecularity cannot be zero or negative or fractional or imaginary values. We cannot have any imaginary or infinite values also. So molecularity is a theoretical concept. So for simple reactions, molecularity, it is the sum of the stoichiometric coefficients of reactants involved in the reaction. Now let us see molecularity of complex reactions. We know that those reactions which occur in two or more steps are termed as complex reactions. And here we have to bear in mind that each step of it, that is each step of the complex reactions, is a simple reaction, that is elementary reaction. So already we know elementary reaction has its own molecularity depending upon the number of molecules of the reactants. Okay, so here what I'm saying is the complex reactions, each step involved in the complex reaction is a simple step, is an elementary step. So we can find the molecularity of each step involved in the complex reaction. There, in that complex reaction, the minimum number of reacting particles, that is that involved in the rate determining step, is called the molecularity of that reaction. So in each step, we can understand that each step is an elementary reaction in complex reactions, and we have to find which is the rate determining step. And if you find the molecularity of that rate determining step, then it is the molecularity of the whole complex reaction. For example, let us take an example let us take the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. In step 1, it is found to be slow, right? So hydrogen peroxide, it gives water and one oxygen molecule entity, that is one oxygen entity. So these two oxygen species reacts to give oxygen molecule in the second step. So which step is found to be slow, then that step will be called as rate determining step. Here in this example, step 1 is the slow step, and that is the rate determining step. So whatever sequence of reactions are there, the slowest step is said to be the rate determining step. So in this example, the rate determining step is step 1. So the reaction contains only one concentration term, so that is only one reactant. So the stoichiometric coefficient is found to be 1. So the molecularity of the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide is 1. That is, it is a unimolecular reaction. Likewise, we have to find which one is the rate determining step in all the sequence of the steps involved in the complex reactions. Then find the molecularity of that particular rate determining step. Then that is the molecularity of the whole of that complex reaction. Molecularity of higher order reactions are rare because more than 3 molecules may not mutually collide with each other. That is, the chances for even 3 molecules to collide simultaneously are not high, whereas the chances for 1 or 2 molecules to collide simultaneously are high. This is the reason why reactions of third and higher orders are very rare, and most of the reactions are of first and second order. So now let us look some examples here for which order and molecularity is given. Number 1, dissociation of dinitrogen pentoxide, order and molecularity is found to be 1. And in the next example, dissociation of hydrogen peroxide, order and molecularity is again found to be 1. And dissociation of hydrogen iodide, 2, order is 2, and again molecularity is 2. And in formation of nitrogen dioxide, that is fourth example, order is found to be 3, as well as molecularity is also found to be 3. Now let us look at the difference between molecularity and order. Molecularity, it represents the number of reactant molecules that involved in the elementary reaction. Order, it represents the sum of the exponents to the concentration term in the rate expression. Okay. Molecularity, it is a theoretical property, whereas order is experimental property. Molecularity, it indicates the number of reactant molecules involved in the each step leading to the reaction, and order of the reaction, it indicates the dependence of the reaction rate on the concentration of the reactants. Molecularity is always an integer, and we can never find them fraction as fraction or a zero or infinity like that. But order, it is always an integer. It may be fraction, or even it can also be zero. And molecularity is a property of elementary reactions, that is complex reactions has no meaning there. That is, each and every step in the complex reaction is taken for calculating the molecularity, and from the rate determining step the molecularity is calculated. So it is pertain to only elementary reaction, like that we can say. But here in order, it is a property of both elementary as well as complex reactions.